all my VW friends. We are back with Huberts engine here again, the power plant of Hubert, Emily 63 Volkswagen Bug, and we're still doing cam stuff. I've pretty happy with dialing in the cam, where we kind of basically found out where the timing of the camshaft was. That was first video. Second video, we checked the duration of the cam. Well, today I'm going to attempt to see where the valves clearance is between the valves and the pistons. And this is going to be a little tricky. We'll see if we can get through it. But I've already took the liberty of finding a top dead center. You can see I've got the degree pulley back on here again. And then I've also went and mounted the other cylinder and the head with the rocker arms. I was kind of happy with the way the cam was already, externally. So I took liberty of sealing up the short block here. And once we get this done here, I'm going to go and actually seal together the long block. I've put the oil pump on with the CB Performance oil plate cover, and the flywheel bag here is torqued down to well over 250 foot-pounds with a chromoly gland nut. And of course, I did remember to put the main seal in and the shims. Those are very important. There's a couple different ways, I guess, you can check the valve to piston clearance here. I am going to do it, or adjusting the rocker shaft adjuster here. And right now, we are basically zero lash, top dead center on cylinder 1. And the other thing people will do, and I didn't do it, but they'll actually remove the springs on here and put a lighter spring on there, and they'll just rock the rocker back and forth by hand. But I seen somebody else do it with the adjuster on here, and I didn't want to bother removing the heavy-duty valve springs on here. I could, I can. I'm just doing it the lazy way, I guess. So let's see if we can get this done. See, we're set up on the exhaust valve right now. I'm going to do this two different ways. I'm going to do the first one by the way I watched everybody else do it. It's kind of confusing here. For the research I've done, we're going to put when we do the exhaust valve, we're going to put this wheel here at basically 10 degrees before top dead center. Now, a way to explain this, and I'm horrible at explaining things, but the exhaust valve is actually being chased by the piston. So it's opening, and when it's closing, the piston's coming up. Just before the piston reaches top dead center, the exhaust valve should be pretty much closed. The intake valve is actually the opposite. The intake valve is chasing the piston when the piston is going down. So we're checking the piston here, should be just before top dead center. So what we're going to do is we're going to start cranking on the rocker arm here and then see where we're at. So I've got the engine, like I said, at 10 degrees before top dead center, and I'm just going to start. Well, first we're going to zero this out. And the idea is to find the clearance. We are going to move this 100 thousandths. Basically, your intake or your exhaust valve is the hotter of the two valves because it's having all the hot gases pass it. So it's possible it's going to expand a little more. So we're going to just move this all the way down so at least hits 100 thousandths. And it still moves. We'll pass it a little bit. We'll go 120. So being that this is still moving, I haven't touched anything yet. We'll go a little further. 150,000 should be in the clear. And I haven't touched anything yet. Okay, so I'm going to check this another way, just for a peace of mind. But the cam card here shows that the exhaust valve closes. And when it's closing, it's going to be, as closest to the piston as probably it's ever going to get at roughly 21 degrees. Which, we kind of got to take into consideration that we know the cam is retarded 4 degrees. So as long as we're roughly in the 25 degree area, we should be fine. But I'm going to actually, rotate the engine over and set it close to where this is at and kind of do the same process we just did and see if it still hits or if it doesn't hit. It didn't hit, so see if it hits or it doesn't hit. Okay, so we'll watch the exhaust valve open and come close to closing here. And I actually went right past the 21. We'll put it right on 21. Then we'll zero it out here again. And do that same thing we just did. Make sure the Allen key is in the screw all the way so we don't strip it. It's a brand new rockers. Hate to strip it. Now, since I got the intake valve is slightly open, I can kind of see down in there, and we're not even anywhere close to that piston. But just for keepsake, we'll go a little bit more past the 100 thousandths. Back her back. Try to get her as close to where it started. We'll rotate her over, watch the intake open. Springs are good and closed. We'll put her back on top dead center. Check our lash. Yep. Now we'll get set up and do the intake valve. Now the intake valve, like I said, is the cooler of the two because it's receiving the liquid gas before it's combusted. But we got to take into consideration that, you know, it is bigger around than the exhaust valve. But they recommend 80 thousandths clearance, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to check to see if there's 80 thousandths clearance, but first we have to put this on 10 degrees after top dead center. Now we'll do the same thing. I zeroed it out. So we'll just go to 80 thousandths. So that was 50, 60, 70, 80. And I can see down in there. Let's see where, a little harder to see. I can see the pistons way down there. We'll go a little further. There's 100 thousandths. And there's 150. And the valve is still moving, so we're not touching anything. Let's bring it back down to 0. Zero. Should be pretty close to 0 lash too. Yep, there we go. I can feel it kind of give. Now, the cam card I showed you earlier, it's the same thing. It says except for the intake opens at 21 degrees before top dead center. So let's watch this intake come to where it's going to open. Yeah, we're coming up to the top dead center, so it should start moving here. Yep, I seen the dial indicator move. We'll put it on roughly 21. We'll zero this out now. The intake has actually already started moving. You can get a look to see down in there. And the piston is on its way up. So we'll move this 80. There's 50, 60, 70, 80. Take a peek in here. Big old valves. See right down in there. Not seeing anything. Let's go a little further just for fun. Here's 110. Man, 150. Now that I got it open that far, still a ways away. Yeah, that's kind of, from what I dug up, that's kind of how it's done when you're doing it with the dial indicator. The other way of doing it, and it's actually for peace of mind, I still may do it. I think I'm pretty far away, but it's actually to stick some like modeling clay, or I use silly putty, actually on top of the piston. You know, make sure you got this all valve ash all set. Rotate the engine around a couple of times. Take the head back off, and then you can actually cut the silly putty and actually measure. And for peace of mind, I think I'm still going to do that. Just to, you know, I've never done this before, and we've got a pretty large combustion chamber in these heads, so I don't think we're anywhere near the piston. Give me a minute to tear this all down, and let's see if we can do that. All right, there's the silly putty. Doesn't take much. The valve actually is going to touch the bottom of the piston rather than the top, because top is where the spark plug's at. Seems upside down to me, but it's not. But I generally will, you know, clean the piston off here, because I want the silly putty to stick to the piston, and then I'll probably put a little bit of light coat of oil on the valves, just so the silly putty doesn't stick to the valves and make a mess. I've had that happen before. Okay, I got the head on, cylinders on, and I forgot to put the rocker arms on. Kind of need that in order to see where we're at. In case you missed one of the earlier videos, I'm running a set of rocker arms made and sold by MP Performance. And so far, I'm liking them. They are made out of chromoly and are advertised as the strongest rockers on the market today. They really remind me of the Scat rocker arms. And, well, a lot like the Bird rocker arms that I run. Okay, we should still be at top dead center because I didn't move anything. And I have a tight zero lash on here. So we're just gonna make a couple revolutions here. Probably one's good, but we'll just watch the rocker arms do their things. Exhaust valves opening. I think I heard some silly putty. And there's the intake. That's probably good enough. Put back on top dead center and take everything back apart and see what the silly putty looks like. So here we are. This is what the silly putty looks like. And what I heard was the let me get a pointer. What I heard was a silly putty right here in this area, squished between the combustion chamber and the piston. I don't see any. I mean, there may be one tick right there in the silly putty from the exhaust valve. I'm not seeing anything on the intake valve. And I measured this silly putty before I put it on here, and it was roughly 190 to 200 thousandths thick. And this is actually one of the thicker parts. So we probably got well over 200 thousandths clearance. And I know, if I remember correctly, that probably measures a good 40 thousandths. I think I got 40 thousandths deck height. So yeah, I know that's kind of cumbersome, having to put stuff together and take stuff apart several times, but that's what's got to be done when you're dealing with performance engines. You know, whether it's a Volkswagen or small block Chevy or big block Ford, it's just what you have to do. You know, because these parts cost lots of money, and the last thing you want to do is have things crashing together and having to buy them all over again because you made a big mistake. But yeah, with that said, I think I'm pretty comfortable sticking this long block together, sealing her all up, and then we'll probably put it away and get back to work here on Hubert. Still got some doors to work on and get the rear fenders done. Hopefully it'll be around February or something. We can pull Simon back around and get to work on him, because I am registered for Sick Michigan Miles 2026. Tom Bailey, Sick the magazine, they decided to have a second one after saying it was going to one off. Guess there was enough call for it, so hey, can't complain. It's a good time. August 17th, I think it kicks off next year. So I got a lot of work to do. Transmission's broke, and the engine leaks a little bit of oil, and what else I want to, I got some upgrades I want to make, like with the fuel system and stuff. I mean, a fuel gauge would be would be well worth it. So until next time, keep cruising, keep shifting those gears, and always enjoy the ride. Talk to you later.
Before I was just another guy